Hi Shayla, so this is your custom video from me. I'm actually going to add a couple movements we didn't go over in clinic that I think that would be really great for your repatterning. I'm gonna start with floor work and then I'm gonna make a separate video for standing work, okay? So after watching these a couple times, you might not need to watch them anymore, but feel free to follow along. And if you have any questions, reach out over email. Okay, so let's start with our floor series. I would recommend doing your pelvic floor relaxation series prior and after exercises for now until that urgency really starts to back off for you. So lying on your back on the floor like this. So your tendency at this point in your fitness journey is to flare your ribs, okay, and over grip your rectus abdominis for your core activation strategy. What we talked about in clinic is to work with the posterior pelvic floor, and I want you to think a little bit with the transverse abdominis as well, but just a little tiny bit. So we'll tap into our reverse Kegel here. You're breathing in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. Now we'll add in the core activation. I want you to put your hands right below your rib cage and make sure you're relaxing that rib cage down. And then for you, we just want a little bit of an imprint. We still want a gap in between the floor, but just a little tiny bit of an imprint, okay? The other hand, I want you to place it right above your bladder, okay? We're gonna breathe down to the pelvic floor. And on your exhale, you're going to activate posterior pelvic floor. So you're drawing the muscles around your rectum up and your perineal body up and into your body. And then you're just thinking about a little bit of an activation underneath these bottom fingers, but not a lot, because remember the bladder is right underneath here, okay? So we want to keep this off and this off. So let's try a couple. Breathing in. Exhale, posterior pelvic floor. Little bit of an imprint and really keeping that front off as much as you can. Breathe in. Exhale, posterior pelvic floor, perineal body on exhale, little bit of TA keeping this off. Okay, now let's add some leg work into it. And this is going to be really challenging. Going to need to use a lot of brain power here. Breathe in. Exhale. And you're exhaling through movement and making sure those ribs aren't flaring up. You're keeping that little bit of an imprint, but not achieving that imprint with gripping the core. Hard to do. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Now you might see me gripping a little bit. It's just for me to protect my spine because I'm a little backwards to you, but just focus on your activation. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Now you can continue for 10 reps, but in between, we're just going to connect to the bladder here in case we're getting any gripping, breathing down to the hands. And then softening the pelvis. Breathing in. And softening the pelvis. Breathe in. Soften the pelvis. Great. Let's do the other side here. Breathe in. Exhale, activate bottom up. Breathe in. Exhale, bottom up. Breathe in. Posterior pelvic floor, lift, keep the front off, breathe in and up. So this movement is going to be way below your fitness level. Why we're doing it is more for you to sync up that what we're trying to do with core activation. Now, as you're working with this, I want to show you the next movement of this that you can try out at home, okay? So the next movement, we're actually starting at 90-90, okay? And you're going to have to monitor what's happening here closely, breathing in. Exhale, posterior pelvic floor, little bit of an imprint without overgripping the abs. Exhale, and then you're lifting the other leg. Okay, so try it again. Breathe in. Exhale, posterior pelvic floor, little bit of TA. Keep the abs off. Exhale, lift. Okay, one more time. Posterior pelvic floor, little bit of TA, abs off. They're going to turn on, so you can trust that they're going to do their job, okay? Because you're very strong there. One more. Good. Now, if you're doing that one, you just pause the video and do the other side. But I'm going to show you the next movement I want you to consider. We did not go over this one in clinic. I'd like you to start at 90-90, okay? You're going to breathe in. Exhale, posterior pelvic floor, a little bit of that imprint, and then you're dropping that leg out to the side and back. And you might find that this one, so set up again, exhale, activate. You might find this one a lot easier because you're not moving in this direction, which is really rectus abdominis heavy. So this might be a really nice one for you. Two more, breathe in, and keep monitoring yourself. Last one. Beautiful. And we're going to do the other side here. Breathe in. And then again, we're going to go into that restorative position just to breathe into that bladder. So again, way below what your core can tolerate, but what we're looking to do is rebalance this whole system to make sure this front isn't really squishing that bladder. Breathing in and letting go. I really like to do relaxation in between each movement, even myself. So I really recommend this for all of my clients. It's almost like an active recovery. Great. So we did go over the bridge in clinic, okay? The bridge, the reason we really want to work into flexion is because this is really going to pick on rectus abdominis. Bridge is obviously back body, so it doesn't pick on rectus abdominis, but I think that might just get you a little stronger here in here, okay? So again, making sure those ribs aren't flared and a little bit of an imprint for you. You're breathing in. Posterior pelvic floor, squeeze, lift, more rectum and perineal body, a little bit of TA, and then lift. And down by the end of the exhale. If this is way, way too easy, you can always lift a heel and then alternate heels. And want to monitor that rectus abdominis. Make sure she's not taking over. She really didn't take over for you in this exercise in clinic. Good. So one more exercise in our floor series I want you to consider, and again, we didn't go over this one in clinic, but we do want to consider on all fours here. So I'm going to over exaggerate your tendency here is that flare up and that lordosis, that anterior pelvic tilt. So in all fours, if you have any wrist issues, you can put your hands in fists, but if you can be flat, do so. And you want to push through your fingers and the whole hand to make it active. Now what you want to do is pull your shoulders back and push into the floor a little bit to make sure that rib cage is neutral. And if you can, do this in front of the mirror. And then for you, you want a little bit of a tuck, a little bit of an imprint this way. So if I really exaggerate, that's posterior pelvic tilt. You just want a little bit of an imprint. Now in this position, we're going to work on that activation pattern. So you're breathing down to pelvic floor. You're exhaling, pulling posterior pelvic floor up, and then a little bit of TA, okay? Now this is where we're gonna make it harder, all right? You can just lift one leg to see what rectus abdominis does on exhale, but I wanna make this a little bit more challenging for you. So breathe on in, really pushing into those hands, a little bit of a tuck. Exhale, core activation. And then lift your knees. See if you're really trying to grip here, okay? Or if your ribs are really flaring, or if you're really gripping that bladder, okay? Try to support yourself through the legs and the back body if you can. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Great. Now I'll show you the progression of this. You may not be able to get it by the next time I see you, but might as well give it to you in case you really get your head around this activation pattern and you want something a little harder, okay? So the next stage, as you get everything in line, you're going to breathe in. You're going to exhale, lift. Good. Breathe in. Exhale, lift. Breathe in. Exhale, lift. Okay. It's quite a difficult movement. You're really going to feel grippy at the top. So really pulling those shoulder blades back and down and thinking about supporting with the bum. So you can run this cycle through 3 times if you wish before moving to the standing series. Hashtag mom life. If you don't have time, even just running through it once is awesome. So move on to standing series next.